Welcome to AccuLynx on the Roof, a residential roofing podcast developed to help contractors learn how to manage and grow their businesses. Since 2008, thousands of roofing contractors have turned to AccuLynx to help them run more productive and profitable roofing businesses, and we're excited to bring their stories and other industry insights to you.
Welcome to another episode of AccuLynx on the Roof, where we explore the strategies and stories behind building industry-leading roofing software. I'm your host, Michelle Middleman, and today we have a special focus on the experiences of our VP of Product, Mark Rattin, as he has scaled AccuLynx over the last 8 years. Mark, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Well, let's start with your journey. Please tell us about yourself and your role at AccuLynx.
Sure. I think there's a great Grateful Dead song lyric. What a long, strange trip it has been in terms of my journey. So I'll just manage it because there's a lot of, basically I'm just lucky and fortunate to have been in the right place at the right time. I think, as you can tell by my gray hair and my lack of ground cover up here, I've ingested a lot of stress, and this is the collateral damage of a long-standing career in this industry. I think this is now my 8th startup that I've worked with. AccuLynx is no longer a startup, but when I started, it was much more akin to a startup environment, even though it was already a company that was around 7 years old. My background really, like I said, lucky, right place, right time. I got out of grad school when the Tim Berners-Lee internet in 1990 was out there and commercially available. And, I think it was also the time that the Macintosh computer system was introduced, and Adobe had originally, I think 2 years earlier, maybe introduced Illustrator. They just introduced Photoshop in 1990, and PageMaker and other things. So the Macintosh revolutionized design, and I happened to get a job out of graduate school in a really interesting, cutting-edge Chicago design boutique that was internationally well-known and was really well-regarded and did a lot of cutting-edge digital work. And because I was the youngster that they had hired, they put me in front of that computer and made me figure it out. And it was kind of the best thing that probably could have happened to me. It was almost like a secondary grad school. I think I gained valuable experience, and that role led me to my first startup job, which was for a spinoff of MIT's Media Lab out in Boston. It was this company called Art Technology Group, and they were building the very first online store, and their underlying software that they created for that store became one of the world's largest and most well-regarded e-commerce systems. ATG, they're a publicly held company now and have been so for a while. And, while I was there, I contributed to build the first online e-commerce storefront. And then I came back to the Midwest, and I was hired by an ad tech startup that was basically funded by Leo Burnett. And I think I was maybe employee number 5 or 6, something like that. And that evolved into one of the world's largest digital agencies called Arc Worldwide. So that was really pivotal. I think I jumped around, did a lot of different startup things since then. I even founded my own startup software company, and I did work for different museums, Field Museum and the Museum of Science and Industry, and Chicago Botanic Gardens, and some museums in Canada, National Polar Bear Rescue Center in Winnipeg. And I did a ton of stuff for Orbitz. I developed all the Orbitz games, and the company that I ran did all those things. We did games for Marvel Comics and ESPN. And I met some important people there and had a lot of success. When I successfully exited that business, I was brought on to start a design competency for this e-commerce startup that eventually got bought by Salesforce. And the teams I managed developed a bunch of things, e-commerce storefronts for GoPro and Joann's Fabrics and Blue Dot and Samsonite, Titleist, FootJoy, a bunch of businesses, Vince and Agassi, things like that. And then I moved from that to a Chicago startup called Raise, where I was the VP of product, and I got to manage scale and a ton of VC funded growth and wild expectations. And someone from my past reached out to me who I'd known at Orbitz, and they hired me here, and I've been the VP of product here at AccuLynx ever since for the last 8 years, as you said.
That's an amazing career. And I know I'll speak from the marketing team's perspective. We are so lucky to have you. It has been really awesome working with you. I've also been here for just about 8 years. So
you interviewed me, didn't you?
I have. Yes, I did.
Like it was like that boiler room office that we had
that's
with
right.
the crappy dark paneling and the weird entrance. And oh God, those were days.
Yeah, they were. But, and you were my boss for a brief minute in time.
Oh,
I don't know if you even remember that.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I don't think I effectively apologized for.
No, it was great. We got to work on the original Smart Docs together. So
that's right. That's right.
It's been a journey, but yeah, so, obviously we at AccuLynx are super lucky to have you. So having been our VP of product now for 8 years, kind of walk us through what has been your product development strategy when it comes to driving growth?
I think a core of our product development strategy, and it's going to sound a little cliche, has always been being customer centered in all we do. And I think that doesn't discount the fact that we understand that there is a lot of competition in this space and a lot of choices.
Right.
And there are a lot of effective other software solutions. And, I think that customer centric point of view allows us to understand, what's going on out there, but we don't pay a lot of attention to our competitors, because if we did, we'd be paying attention to the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. So we have a very specific kind of product process, and it's built around not only developing a strong business rationale and strategic perspective where we want to guide our business, but we also want to have an understanding of how the industry that our customers are working in is changing, and ensure that we have relevant solutions to meet that change, help them with the problems that they have today, as well as be able to create things that allow them to continue to advance and grow using our software. And, we work to have a clear understanding of our products. We understand where they're strong and where they're maybe could use some improvement. Sure. And we work really hard to reinvest the money that we get from our customers and the subscriptions and the prices you pay. And I know you guys pay a lot of money to do that, but we're committed to ensure that this is the best product out there, and that Bootstrap allows us to be focused on those ideals, on the problems that our customers have, and not necessarily the business issues that an investor might have. And it allows us to focus the revenue that we get based on our US-based development teams. And we're also lucky to have a lot of former roofers in our business. Yeah. They provide us with really strong product insights and an understanding of base opportunities that we are able to go back out to our customers and our users to be able to understand and validate. So, that's kind of the general strategy that we use when we're developing products here.
I've always thought that having that base of people that truly understand the industry is really what gave us, that leg up from the beginning. When I was hiring, that was one of the things that really sold me, was this is a company run for our end user, and like those are the people that are driving the strategy. So
right on.
Awesome. Can you discuss any pivotal moments or decisions that significantly impacted the trajectory of AccuLynx?
What was interesting was really the story. And I think there have been really two key moments, in my opinion, that have been really impactful in terms of our trajectory. I think the first one was really, we're the first mover in this category. And, I've been a part of companies that have invented ideas and have failed, right? Because we couldn't find a product fit or market fit. And we just, it was just too hard. We ran out of money, ran out of steam, ran out of a lot of things. And I think being a first mover gives you some really, really big advantages. Mm-hmm. Before all our competitors, before the Job Nimbuses and the Leaps and the RoofLinks and, even before the Service Titans of the world, there was AccuLynx, right?
Right.
We had a close relationship with our customers because of our founder. who built a very successful roofing business by creating a wide selection of weirdly integrated software products that he slowly evolved into something holistic. And it really helped him manage his business, which was a very successful Midwestern roofing, exterior contracting oriented business. And he was Rich Spann was very smart, really sharp entrepreneur, and he realized super quick that he had something interesting here outside of the fact that he had a burgeoning multi-million-dollar roofing business. He had a pretty interesting little product on the side. And so he focused on getting some people he knew from his past into that business. Mike McLeod, our director of engineering, Paul Jentz, who runs our customer success teams. Those guys have been here since the very beginning and really make this product into something viable. And he took that and was able to take that into market and begin the path of AccuLynx. Right. I think the second pivotal thing that we had was when Rich recognized that he probably wasn't the right person to take the business where it needed to go. And he hired a seasoned software executive, Mike Stein, who had experience and had a lot of fiscal rigor and ideas about how to make a business that was struggling to grow profitable and strong and unique. And Stein brought processes and rigor and a fiscal perspective that have allowed us to this day generate the kind of revenue and growth that have given us the opportunity to reinvest in a way that even businesses that take funding don't get. We're smart, we're sharp, and out of all the businesses I've been at, we're really, really lean and very focused on ensuring that we deliver a great product, but also we are also building a great business. And Stein hired our VP of sales, who helped operationalize and scale a enterprise level sales team, helped us grow our business. And sales is fundamental to the business. And, he hired me. And I had some process and some technique to that stuff. And, there were already great engineering here. It just, I added some rigor to the way we built products. So that just probably two of, in my opinion, our most pivotal events.
I would have to agree. And I'll say again, from my perspective, every name that you've just mentioned, fantastic people to work with. I mean, every single person is more than willing to talk to you, to talk to marketing, to talk to sales. And I think having, that level of leadership has really, I agree, driven such a huge part of what makes AccuLynx special. So
I will also say that I never knew a term before I moved to Wisconsin, and our engineering, our design group, our like many of our execs are based out of Beloit, Wisconsin, which is a beautiful, small Midwestern town, heavy manufacturing town. It's also the home of ABC Supply. So, that should be known for in our industry, right? But we're based out of Beloit, not the mecca for software engineering talent, right? There's a term called Wisconsin nice, and I never really knew what that was.
Oh, okay.
It is a quality that is imbued by most of the employees here, and that is kind of a kindness, a general kind of a camaraderie, and a sort of a sharing sensibility that is really a different kind of vibe than a lot of the software companies that I've worked at before. So it's to underscore your point about them, all these folks that I mentioned being solid individuals. I also think the company is a solid company because we are Wisconsin nice.
That is a great way to put it. Well, speaking of ABC, can you tell us a little bit about what role our partnerships and integrations also play in our strategy and have since, the company was founded?
Sure. ABC was a cornerstone partner for our business, right? It was our very first partnership.
Yeah.
An essential partner to help AccuLynx legitimize ourselves, right? At the time, we were a struggling software product. We were unique in the sense that there wasn't really a category in competitors at that time. And ABC's belief in us and their agreement to partner with us and help co-market us really helped I think, propel us to early success,
Mhm.
and definitely helped validate that we were not just some fly-by-night company that was going to vaporware that would evaporate. We were a thing, and this was a valuable thing that could really help your business. I think we have since then created partnerships with other suppliers like SRS and Beacon, and those partnerships have driven integrations that have really created great improvements to the ordering and reconciliation process for our customers. I think we have also had an early partnership with EagleView, and EagleView's partnership helped us solve some problems that have been part of all of our competitors' playbooks. You can thank us later, guys. And, the integration of those measurements directly into estimation that allows those pricing and other things that are stored within any sort of product library to be relevant and have actionable dollar values associated with them. So that stuff was super important for us early on, and we have had other measurement providers as partners alongside with EagleView, including GAF today, that allows us to have some options for our customers. Bootstrap companies, they have to be, you have to kind of, it's a combination of guile and cleverness that are part of the approach. You got to be, the term used, scrappy, right? You got to be scrappy and kind of figure stuff out in ways that may be a little less typical. I think that can also, when you're successful at doing it, it can kind of create a sense of pride that you can do it better and often, like, I don't know, cheaper.
Sure.
And that can get in the way of potentially making smarter, longer term business decisions, which can be limiting not only to your business, but also to your customers. And I think also, depending on how you architect your systems, providing a developer-friendly solution that makes it easy for you to connect other software products just doesn't happen. You just don't all of a sudden decide, okay, tomorrow we're going to have APIs and connect a bunch of shit to our application, right? So I think part of it, that all needs a delivered plan. And if you don't do that from the beginning, like as I described initially, how Rich started this thing, you don't build it as a solution to your common business problems. You're going to have some challenges scaling it and integrating those ideas. So our internal healthy debates allowed us to recognize that, in order to continue to create value for our customers, we needed to change our perspective on our core products. And we had to kind of view them not as closed systems, but as that, closed systems that are complete on their own, but as platforms, as a hub that connects valuable third-party products and negotiates and manages the exchange of information between those things. So ideally, we had decided that we needed to, with that mind shift change, we also needed to get better at allowing our customers' favorite tools to be easy to integrate and to be better at managing it. When our customers want to use best-in-class tools that they find valuable, we need to find a way to help them. And, people are experienced and really good contractors. They're not software engineers. So some of the things that we have in place now are complicated, even still today. And I think we have invested very heavily in this area of the business to try and improve it. Removing, by allowing this stuff to happen more easily, we remove any of that manual entry, the double entry that has to happen, the mistakes that ensue from fat fingering or humans doing stuff, and hopefully allow our customers to focus on things that matter. So I think what people are noticing, if you're using AccuLynx now, you've noticed like a marketplace concept come up, and we're working very diligently to continue to build out more integrations. I think, our thought is that even Zapier is a hassle for companies to be able to use. So we want to build all integrations with all the favorite software products our customers use. In October, we've just launched Company Cam, which is our
Yeah.
biggest integration. There's other things in there like Angie's ads and Angie Leads is in there and Hatch is in there.
Mhm.
Got a new Zapier integration as well that does a little bit more. And we have a plan to continue to build this stuff over time. And so I think that it's going to be an exciting time to be an AccuLynx customer, because the improvements are going to come fast and furious, and you're going to be able to start to integrate a lot of these products right out of the box into AccuLynx in meaningful ways.
No, that's awesome. And I know I'm personally very excited to see those things come out too. I talked to a lot of contractors at events, and that's cam. I was so excited to finally be able to say, yes, we had a company cam. It was so
Oh my
exciting.
God. So are the very, very patient sales team
Yes.
at Company Cam. Thank you guys for continuing to stick with us for all these years. They've been on us for a while, and they've been rightly so, right? So we're there finally.
And they've been awesome to work with. So
yeah, they have been.
So kind of shifting gears just slightly, throughout our conversation so far, you've mentioned that the contractor and their needs and their wants are really is at the heart of everything that we do. Kind of speak a little bit more to that. How does this philosophy guide our product development? Why is customer feedback so crucial for this strategy? Kind of give us a little more insight there.
I'm a quote guy, Michelle. This is a quote by Tim Brown. Tim Brown started the design agency IDEO. It's a worldwide and very well-regarded industrial design and design company. And Tim is also one of the, I don't know if you call him the father of design thinking, but he's one of the people who created a concept around design thinking and the way business can introduce design into their process in meaningful ways. And he has this great quote that sticks on my monitor. I think it's an important one. And that is, empathy is at the heart of design. Mm-hmm. Without understanding what others see, feel, and experience, design itself is a pointless task. And I think that that's an important part of creating the understanding for our teams to be able to realize what they should be building. I think customer feedback is critical for our strategy because feedback provides direct insight into what customers want from a product. There's nothing more specific than talking to someone about the frustrations they have with the business and what your product isn't doing to help them. Mm-hmm. So this also helps us align features and improvements with our customer expectations. Obviously, talking with customers, and we do so regularly, like our product team. I think, from that customer feedback in those conversations, customers also point out the stuff you're doing badly, right? Not the stuff that they want or not doing, but also they can point out the bugs, the usability issues, and the problems that aren't necessarily evident when you're doing testing. Like testing is just a part of software development, right? Everything that we build, we run through rigorous tests, and we have a great QA team that is embedded in every engineering team that creates products for external audiences and our customers, right? But that testing can only create things that are based on use cases we create. Our customers create all sorts of unique scenarios that really reveal to us some of the things that we need to improve in our product. I also think that if we listen to customers, we can make adjustments that improve the overall experience and benefit everyone, not just the people that are talking to us. This is important because our role in this company, product's role in AccuLynx, in any company, is really to return value back to the business. And you only get value as a business if your customers have new value in the products that you're creating. So it's a super important part of the responsibility that we have to this business to deliver back value based on what our customers are going to find valuable. I think our customer feedback also really helps us prioritize which features or things we need to take on first. What are most important to them? So that helps me ensure that as a manager of those teams, I am allocating the resources appropriately to focus on the things that matter. Mm-hmm. I also believe that companies that utilize customer feedback stay ahead of competitors because they're not paying attention to their competitors. They're continuously improving their experiences based on customer feedback. So I think that's why we do it.
Is there any specific customer feedback that you can recall that has shaped recent updates or features?
But we've gotten a lot of honest feedback, and I think that there is one product that I think has been probably our most, I don't know, our most hated and now most embraced feature. And, we had something in our product, and we still have it for some companies as we start to close down the last folks that are using our contract worksheets. Contract worksheets was something that was designed by Rich and I think Dan Billings, of all people, too.
Oh, Dan Billings.
Dan Billings is someone who's been a part of this story, so I'll come back to Dan in a moment.
Yeah.
But from a contract worksheet perspective, it became, a lot of what we did in the early days, or what Rich did in the early days, was make software equivalences to things that happen in the physical world. So there was this green sheet that they used to basically assemble a lot of estimation that would happen, in traditional ways back then, where, you would type out an estimate, print it out, send it to your customer, and good, better, best was really kind of 3 estimates. And they would show it to customers, and customers would, and a salesperson would agree in piecemeal what the final job would be. And that green sheet collected all that stuff from those estimates, right? And it was actually a green sheet of paper. Right. Yeah. So that's why they called it a green sheet. And it stood out in the collection of things because it was green.
Right.
So one of the things that they did was they created a contract worksheet to be like the digital equivalent of that green sheet. And, since we were the first software product out there, a lot of roofing companies integrated this as part of their business process. Now, not a lot of people use it in other software products, but it is a very valuable component of the AccuLynx product, because multi-trade restoration jobs and even multi-trade retail jobs have a lot of different things that could be part of how you upgrade a project, or are components that get assembled into the final job product. So having a realization of what the true job value is important. And having something that can actually act as that balance sheet for the job is an important component to create, in our opinion, right? It was a point of difference for our product, right? And so replacing the contract worksheet, something that 98% of our customers used,
right,
definitely filled with risk. And we did a lot of different things to try and mitigate that risk. We had a version, like a preview version available alongside contract worksheets, and we had tools set up to collect customer feedback and sentiment, and we had some kind of net promoter scoring associated with it, so we could understand just on a simplistic scale of 1 to 10 how valuable or worthwhile you thought this experience was. And we evolved it in a lot of ways. So we took a lot of time because we knew so many people were using it, and before we created a new one. And then when we launched the new one, we kept these things side by side, and we created a path for new customers to have to use this new sheet. But we had companies that were coming back that were pissed that they couldn't use the contract worksheet. They were former users that were coming back from a competitor's platform, and then they wanted to use AccuLynx, and they were used to the contract worksheet, and now gone for them.
It was gone.
So we got feedback from that. And as we started to migrate people over, we had actually a concerted effort to train and move people over to this new tool. And it's a big investment for a software company to create something new, especially something that is well used. And this was really a significant change. It was basically a ground up redesign and a complete reimagining of how to manage the balance of a job. And it had lots of really nice tools that allowed for progress billing and multiple stage billing and trade-based billing, things that just didn't happen in our old tools, or are much harder to be able to use. And people hated it. They literally hated it. And we had adoption, but we had lots of friction that we created. And we had a team dedicated to making improvements very, very quickly, fast improvements based on what we were collecting from customers and grouping into areas. And so we were able to understand the challenge of long-standing software and habits that had been built by that software, and the difficulty of changing those habits. So I think we're a lot more deliberate and a lot more focused around how we can minimize those sometimes large changes that we have to make. I think the other part of this that like our customers really don't necessarily see is some of this older software is built on systems that aren't necessarily designed with modern software in mind. So updating them means that we change what's under the hood, the underlying structure that manages them. So that creates a little bit more complexity and potentially a little bit more investment of time. And I think in terms of, you know, the feedback that we got on worksheet, anyone who's using the financial worksheets and invoicing now understands how amazing they are. We have about the same amount of adoption that we had when we were at Contract Worksheet. Almost 98% of our customers are using them. And we have really powerful integrations, a new integration with Sage Intacct that allows companies to be able to use Sage as an accounting package, which is really a more robust and gap-oriented accounting package that is, you know, for companies that outgrow QuickBooks. And it's got amazing reporting tools that allow a granular level reporting and financial reporting that is unlike anything that's out there. So those things are really powerful things to integrate with AccuLynx, and we couldn't have done that without some of these changes with Financial Worksheet. But it created a lot of pain. All that pain we understood very carefully because we cataloged and collected customer feedback, and every single thing customers told us that they wanted to have change, we have been able to build in and change for them. So it is truly a tool that may have pissed them off initially, but was really designed by them ultimately, and taught us a lot of things along the way about product development and changing things that are longstanding.
Yeah, I remember when that came out too. It was nuanced. No, it was like from an understanding perspective, like it was a nuanced tool. It did so many cool and different things. Like to look at the old contract worksheet and our new worksheets, it's like night and day. Like, so it's
well, you know, I also remember, so I was going to circle back to Dan Billings because he's
Dan Billings, bring him back.
So Dan, who was part of, you know, the development of AccuLynx because he worked with Rich back in the day and helped develop that contract worksheet. And supplementing is an important part of our customers' business. And the supplementing tools that we have are really strong, but have been the same for a long time. So we pulled Dan back in, who has been a supplementer for almost, I don't know, at least 20, 25 years. And has a lot of insight. He helped shape some of the ideas that we had, and then we have used a lot of our customers use specific supplementing companies as assets to their business because they understand the ins and outs of managing the supplementing process for insurance companies, and they can help these businesses generate greater revenue and also help their customers ensure that they can get the best quality replacement for the damaged home components that they have. So we have been rigorously testing and evolving these test prototypes with these teams of people. And we are super excited in October to be able to launch a brand new supplementing process that's a massive improvement. And I know that these guys are all excited. They're partially using it today, and they will be beta testing it over the next month, and we will have this released in our October releases as well. So that has been something that has been completely fueled by the people who first designed the products for us, who are now on the outside of the business looking in, and a collection of specialists who just work in this area, who've given us deep insights and an understanding and some great suggestions on how to evolve this product so it's strong for customers.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great segue into this. So, you know, obviously AccuLynx is such a robust product, and a lot of that I'm sure you'll speak to comes from our amazing engineering resources. Talk to us a little bit about how our development teams ensure that AccuLynx is continuously delivering this best-in-class roofing software. You know, what are their processes? How are they making sure that the product we do release, these beta products, you know, are meeting the needs of roofing contractors?
So you come here because you want to be here, you believe in it, you like the people that are here or the vibe of the place. So we've got people that want to be here and are invested in the success of the business. And they take a great deal of pride at creating things that customers that our customers value. I mean, that's in a lot of ways, I think we all work in some regard to derive additional meaning in our lives, right? And I think it's super meaningful from a development standpoint to be a part of a product that people appreciate and make their lives easier. I think that kind of focus makes the product different. But I also think that, we have kind of grown and developed even though we're a small Midwestern company, our processes are similar to some of the best Silicon Valley startup companies, in terms of our rigor around our software development, continuous integration process, which we are always creating new things. We have focused our continuous integration to ensure that when we're releasing things into our production environments, which means our customers can see and use them, they are improvements or fixes to things that exist. When we have new things that we release, we now are aligned with what is largely a business that takes place out of doors. And in America, for 33 states, it's a seasonal business. 33 states, they don't build in the wintertime, right? So we're trying to release our products at the end of fall and at the pre-spring, so we can get things in people's hands that they can use. We have really, in my opinion, the most exceptional training and customer support teams in the business.
Absolutely.
This is also a first mover advantage, right? A lot of companies, we were able to build these before people had software companies, right? So we understood how to train. We understood how to answer questions. We understand roofing businesses because a lot of our trainers are former roofers.
Right.
Understand, they know what business you're in. So this is actually a great thing. And they're former roofers that have also been software trainers for the last 10 years, right? So they have really a great foot in both camps.
Yeah.
I think that our teams all have a rigorous testing component as a part of what they do, but we also test with our customers, with prototypes and beta releases in small forms in a controlled audience that is small, so we can understand what's happening, manage changes. And before we launch new features and products, we can validate concepts and ideas before they're in the wild and we realize we're wrong, right?
Right.
I also think this continuous improvement model also includes ongoing feedback. Like, this is what we talked about in the last question you asked, where we talk to our customers. We have all sorts of channels that customers can give suggestions to us, right? They can call us up in our support line. You'll get someone within 10 minutes. Usually our average call wait time is really, really low.
Yeah.
And you'll get someone who will pass your information along. If it's feedback, I get it. Right? We also have mechanisms on our site to be able to collect that stuff and allow our community to vote on things that they find valuable or offer comments. We read that stuff, right? We collect it, we prioritize it, we begin to understand where the value is so we can make smarter choices about where we're going to put our resources. And that's kind of how we use testing and validation as a way to understand, how to build the best possible customer experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I know after our last release, we got a ton of feedback. There's always going to be a learning curve when any new updates are made. And I saw your teams jump into action immediately. So, we were managing that feedback and then we were making changes in real time. Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we're human, right? We don't yet have a bunch of AI bots running things and making decisions for us here. Although AI is quite interesting and we're experimenting with it a lot of different ways, we still are prone to sometimes making a mistake. Mistakes and releases are different than wants. And we have a lot of customers who want us to change things and get frustrated that we can't change things as fast as they want us to. And I think that is understandable. I understand, from a customer's perspective, how frustrating that can be. But the real challenge is we have tens of thousands of wants, and it's important for us to be able to quantify and prioritize those wants, so we make sure the most wanted wants get done first,
Right.
and not the wants of the biggest companies get done first, right? So I think that those can be sometimes two different things, but it is a challenge and it's something that we work through each day.
Absolutely. Well, I guess looking back now that you've had 8 wonderful years with AccuLynx, what are some of the key lessons that you've learned in scaling, and how do those inform our future plans?
Key lessons. That's actually a great question. I think, the lessons I have is it's more important to be valuable than perfect. And I think we adopted a more pragmatic strategy. I think we're not interested in obviously releasing things that don't have enough meat on the bones, so to speak, to provide value immediately and become an answer to a business problem. But I think we've gotten a lot smarter about ensuring that we can develop a lean enough product like right up front. And it's important to have teams. I think another lesson I learned is it's important for all your teams to understand customer pain points, because empathy with a customer and what the customer is challenged by allows those teams to push themselves harder and sometimes go above and beyond, and even beyond ridiculous deadlines that they have in front of them, to ensure that they can get something into market in the hands of our customers in a time where it's valuable to them.
Yeah.
I also think that success breeds success. I think we had a hard time earlier in our tenure when we were unknown and less successful, and the category was less filled with competitors and other really interesting software products and companies. And we had a hard time recruiting people, getting the best people here. And it took us a long time to build our staff, because before COVID, we weren't really a remote oriented company. So a lot of this stuff meant we had to find people in Beloit, Wisconsin, Southern Illinois, Northern Wisconsin, and that's just not the place where a lot of software developers kind of live and work. I mean, if you're out there, please send your resumes in. We'd be happy. Right. But, it was different then. And I think that our success and our ability to prove that as a business, as well as the competitors that have entered the space and the attention they've brought to the space, Nimbus and Leap and RoofLink and Service Titan have all been really interesting as a way to bring an awareness to a category that has allowed us to hire really, really great software engineers and data engineers and product managers and designers, because we're in the mix of things and have a strong reputation at the very top of this category. And that is something that I wasn't sure how we were going to solve that problem, and it kind of solved itself for us. So I think our continued success has allowed us to become more successful, and that's a trend we want to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have one last question for you.
Sure.
What excites you about the future of AccuLynx and the roofing industry as a whole?
Wow. Well, there's a lot of changes happening, right? I think what we have seen happen in other verticals, private equity is an interesting thing. I've had a lot of different experiences with private equity firms and investments in my past life, and there are really good options and opportunities that they can afford businesses that have potential. There's also a lot of things that can be damaged with choosing the wrong partner. And I think this is starting to happen. What happened in HVAC and home services is starting to happen in roofing. What we're seeing is a lot of private equity activity, large roofing businesses, 500 plus user companies. They're less than 1% of all roofing businesses sit in that category. And yet this year we've seen dozens and dozens of AccuLynx companies consumed by private equity investors and rolled up into large-scale roofing businesses. And there isn't an adequate software solution for it. I mean, we're an adequate software solution because we've been focused in this space for the last 3 years specifically, anticipating this was going to happen. But I think that we're pretty much alone in this category in relation to something that is roofing centered that can serve these private equity needs. And I think that is really interesting, how that's going to change the nature of roofing. I think it does a great thing for roofing businesses.
Mhm.
It could give them a capital infusion, allow the people that started those businesses real generational wealth, depending on the scale of that business. But it also has the potential to change the shape of roofing as we know it, as these businesses become larger in scale and become national organizations instead of remote, specific, regional experts. And that's not to say that the two can exist together. It's just really exciting, interesting change. I'm interested too and excited about the new machine learning and artificial intelligence tools that are on market and how accessible it is. We've got some interesting things that we've done, and we've seen wild success for companies that are using our lead our lead tools and our artificial intelligence that we've added to those things. So that is an exciting opportunity for our customers, and certainly for our teams, to be able to explore new options that can automate a lot of processes that become manual for our customers today. So those are the kind of a couple things that I'm excited about. I'm also excited too, really, about payments. Well, talk about excitement. I'll go on. Mobile, there's a lot of great
there's so much to be excited about.
Oh my God, there's so much to be excited about. But I mean, just to manage your time and our customers' time, those are two really big things that I am keenly aware of.
Yeah, I've seen a lot about private equity as well. And obviously you can't get away from AI these days. Everything's an AI, everything's AI.
Everything.
And so I'm super excited to see what you and the teams are going to do for AccuLynx and for roofing contractors in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's going to be great. I'm excited to be along for the ride.
Yeah, it'll be exciting.
It will. Well, Mark, thank you so much for sharing your invaluable insights and experiences with me, with us, everyone listening. And again, a big thank you to our teams, all of our AccuLynx teams that you mentioned, for all of your dedication and for delivering exceptional roofing software. Everyone else, stay tuned for more exciting updates from AccuLynx, and thank you all for listening. Have a great day.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks for listening to AccuLynx on the Roof. If you'd like to learn how you can better manage and grow your roofing business, sign up for a demo with AccuLynx. New AccuLynx customers can receive up to 30% off Elite User License when they start. Visit AccuLynx.com/podcast to schedule your demo and access more industry resources today. Until next time, see you on the roof.